Let's continue with our top line story. Walmart saying it's pricing power. It's taking market share away from other grocers in Canada. Joining us for more in studio, Diana Avigdor, portfolio manager and head of trading at Barometer Capital Management. Good to see you again, Diana.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
So obviously for the last few years, we've known that when it comes to the grocery wars that Walmart was becoming a fierce competitor. But lately, we've all been worried more about Amazon. Now Walmart comes out and says, look at us. We are actually winning in the Canadian grocery wars. What do the Canadian grocers have to worry about in this situation?
You know, I don't think there is a lot of price wars. There is a little bit, certainly when Walmart comes in, and we have seen the pressure that that Walmart has put on these pricings. I think that all of them together do have to worry about the minimum wage going up beginning of next year. That will hurt margins. And there's going to have to be something that offsets that. It is possible that the strength in the Canadian dollar, which acts as a benefit to these grocers, including the Canadian side of Walmart, will offset some of that increase in the minimum wage. That is going to be a big, hefty hike. It will affect a lot of the whole retail environment in Canada. Certainly Walmart is a hefty, mighty competitor as it comes to pricing, but you see the stock actually up 2% and trading in the U.S. Their guidance was a little light. And I think that they also blame a little bit the Amazonization of the retail market. Just a funny, not funny, but interesting soundbite. About 100 companies in the last 90 days have mentioned Amazon in their in their calls, in their management earnings calls, blaming Amazon for one thing or another. So, while
are they becoming a scapegoat now? How big of a threat is Amazon? I mean, they're huge, obviously. They don't mind playing the game of razor-thin margins. We know that's been their mantra for a long time. But everyone just seems to be running scared now. They make a flick at this or that. They say, hey, we want to be in groceries. Everyone freaks out in the grocery space.
100%. And they just bought Whole Foods. And although that is not the cheap grocery market, it is more of a high-end food retailer. The fact that Amazon will go into anything that has scale and will do so at a current loss, as it spends more than it makes, and nobody cares about how much profit they actually make right now, as if they're investing in the big future. It is certainly a threat. But you know, even if at some point, I mean, not electronic, but online shopping is a much smaller portion of the total shopping budget than the traditional, even though it's growing faster. You know, the retailers that do succeed are those that are going to be able to offer a value-add online shopping experience. The world and tastes and our shopping habits are certainly changing, and it's in flux right now. How it's going to end up in 10 years, who knows? Some combination of what, but certainly it does change the game plan.
Does change the game plan. I think in terms of personally, what I've looked at, I do the grocery shopping in the family, but I've looked at the online options. So far, what we've had in Canada is place your order a couple days in advance and it shows up on Saturday. It's like, well, you know, if I had myself organized, I might do that. But in the end, it's easier for me just to survive the week and go out Saturday morning and get some food. But I guess if Amazon could actually set up a system where if I can order some food on a Saturday morning, it shows up at my house on Saturday afternoon, I might actually be in for that. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. For me, anecdotally, it's just the milk and bread that I can buy because it doesn't trigger my imagination at all. So I'm still not there shopping for everything. It doesn't allow you to smell and see and touch.
So yeah, that fruit better be fresh.
Right.
You mentioned the fact about minimum wage. You've had a lot of people from the grocery industry and other industries, including automotive parts like Magna and entertainment, Cineplex, coming on saying this is too much too soon. Are they, obviously, if you're going to raise the cost of your labor, it is going to have an effect on the bottom line. But are corporations going a little too far in saying that it's this really dire situation and Ontario is going just in the wrong direction?
I think that it's more than that, too. I think there was some conversation as to having to manage the hours in a particular way.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's more than just the minimum wage. There's a lot of things in that labor bill.
I mean, things are not easy out there in the market. There should be a way to make things easier for those people that, for those areas that hire people. So you raise the minimum wage and you handcuff their ability to be flexible. We'll see what it does. I'm always skeptical when harsh rules are being put on. I understand the logic and the benefits that it might bring, more people having employment, more people having money, more people having employment.
More disposable income put into the economy.
Yeah, exactly. I get it. But you know, I don't know that. I mean, we're growing at what, 3%, maybe. The global economy is not growing at such a robust pace that if you put on the handcuffs, that you actually have some slack to come back from. So we'll see.
So given the tightness in the business already, the challenges they might have from the new labor legislation in Ontario, other provinces talking about minimum wage as well, would you put any money to work in the grocery space right now?
No, and actually we're very low weight in Canada in our portfolios. And maybe we can discuss later on, it's the first time since February 2016 that we're actually a little cautious on the markets. If you recall, we always kept coming back saying, you know, the market's doing okay, the indicators are positive. At this point, and we were always, in the last year and a half anyway, overweight US. That still is the case for that money that works. However, we do have portfolio hedges in place and a higher level of cash in some portfolio, 10%. Canada is a very small weight, very specific names, things like Air Canada, Sleep Country, very specific stories, growthy stories is where we're targeting in Canada.
Okay, when we return, I do want to talk about that broader investment strategy because definitely a lot of things happening globally that investors need to consider. We're going to be back with our feature guest, Diana Avigdor, for investment strategies and the stocks to watch.